Hello all history hunters, back out detecting, not been out for a few days, been in a lovely place, Romald Kirk. I've been pronouncing it Romald Kirk, I think it's Romald Kirk. Beautiful place, shame can't go detecting around there or what have you. I'm on the permission where I've had a few hammer coins and Roman artefacts and just had this heavy piece of iron, strange shape. Let's have a look. So it's almost like a head of a hammer, but what's that, just a splodge? Or is there something hiding in there? Who knows? Look at that. Little 12 signal tear off foil. Been pouring down last couple of days. So some faint signals. This was a deep faint 7, part of a spoon, and I've had a bit of deep lead and a shotgun cartridge end. I've had this button out. It's one of those that goes into two like that, and it was all the way down there. But it's good land, so it's just a tiniest little flicker of something. So, worth digging out. This is going to be the end of a shotgun cartridge. It was a 14, but a dullish signal. It looks like some kind of lead stopper, doesn't it? Yeah, wonder what that was for. This is an interesting item. 23 it was, but quite deep. It's a copperish item. Well, that's quite nice, some kind of lid off something, a bit decorative. Don't know how old that is. Quite nice, isn't it? Okay. I'm not saying it is, but that is a 13, could be iron, but that could be some either deep artifact or hammered coin. Hawk up in that tree, making an ecking noise. I think it does that to scare out birds and then pounces. Is it going to fly out? I'll sit and watch. Let's see, this is a coin in the 20s. So we have a look over. If you look there, I think that's going to be George the First, looking to the right, not George the Third. I think there's a little rim around. I think that's George the First, but I have to be careful to check things out because this is the area where I've had, you know, a handful of Roman finds, but I think that's a George the First. Then a loud 19 signal. We're off home in a second. Get you excited, loud 19 signal after a bit of rain, but it's just a button. So, when this came out, I thought it was old, but you know, it could be like a lid off something, or you know, I don't like to proclaim anything is something bigger than it is, but I took this along to the detecting club, and apparently it's not an old lid off something. It's a what they called a heraldic pendant. So you know, it probably would have been gilded, and maybe would have had some enamelling on, I don't know. And, you know, with the colours of, you know, a nobleman or some local lord in North Lancashire. So yeah, reading up about it, it probably wasn't worn by the lord themselves, but by a messenger or somebody working on behalf of the nobleman. Right, just a couple of little thoughts. Yeah, so what a fantastic find. But it's just kind of got me mind thinking. So, you know, not that I know that much history, but a nobleman, you know, or, you know, how high up in the ranking of the nobility this person was, who this kind of represented, and what exactly was a nobleman. Somebody who had the right to bear arms, somebody who could be called on by the king or queen to go and fight on behalf of them, and, you know, whatever dispute. So I think they were kind of you know, they'd run the law in the district. So, you know, if you had a dispute, or you could be hauled up in front of them, you know, before, you know, police came along and courts and what have you, you know, the beginnings of that. But what I don't know exactly is, if you were, you know, just an ordinary person in that area, what your relationship would be. Would you basically, would you be a bit like a servant to them? Would you be owned by them? You know, what could they tell you to do? You know, what freedoms, what rights did you have if you were in that area of that lord, that nobleman? You know, they would be arguing that they offered employment, that they offered wages, that they offered security, and, you know, and physical protection. So they kind of would be responsible for making sure that, you know, making sure that there's peace in the area. You know, whether they abuse their power or not, you know, who knows? But it just kind of, you know, that's part of our history. It's, you know, and because Britain, you know, colonised, dominated a lot of the world, a lot of our laws and traditions kind of go abroad. So it makes me kind of think, how much of that is still hanging over? So yes, we have our freedoms, and you have a mortgage rather than being owned by the local lord. But these things kind of carry through. We've got our National Health Service, you've got your benefits, you've got your Air Force flying past, but these things don't come free. You know, it's taken out of your wages, and just you see what happens to your freedoms if you say you don't feel like you don't, I don't feel like paying for those. Yeah, I don't think I'll bother paying. No, I'm not going to take that jab. Because it's quite interesting what happens to your rights then, doesn't it? So, yeah. Thoughts for the day.